meditation is a superpower if you develop it well. I wish I had learned how to meditate, learn how to still my mind sooner in my life. I'm convinced I would have performed way better throughout my career had I had that skill set. I can't quiet my mind enough to meditate, so I won't do it. And I always say in response, that's like saying I'm too dirty to take a shower. Maybe it was the universe, maybe it was just my subconscious knocked me over the head, was like, stop striving, just be peace. And that's when this idea of really engaging in a meditative practice kind of came to fruition, because it was like, if you boil life down to mind, body, spirit, what things can you do throughout the day to engage in those kind of activities in a healthy way?
Raw, uncut, and unapologetic. Welcome to Men Talking Mindfulness.
What does a dedicated meditation practice look like off the cushion and in the real world? Today's guest, Chris Lee, is going to help us answer this question. Chris is a former Green Beret turned high-performance coach, author of Beyond the Battlefield. You can see it sitting right there behind him. And the brain, or one of the brains, behind Machine Mentality. Basically, battlefield medic meets monk with a whiteboard. Chris knows meditation is the quiet superpower that touches every part of life. Focus, leadership, parenting, revenue, relationships, and the war between your ears. If you've ever thought, I can't sit still, or meditation isn't for killers of to-do lists, Chris is here to change your mind. Welcome, Chris. Glad to have you here.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Right on, brother. Nice. And Will, good to see you as always, brother.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to you, man.
No, hey, good to be here with everybody. Hey, thanks for showing up. Take a moment, maybe drop somebody a text message with this episode, or share this on your LinkedIn, or subscribe, share what we're doing over here. Help us to grow. If you want to just plug into more of what we're doing with Men Talking Mindfulness, please head to our website, mentalkingmindfulness.com. And without further ado, Chris, again, great to have you. And I'm really excited for this conversation about meditation, because more people, and more men really, they think of it as something like, oh my God, meditation, that's for the monks and, the people that are not like me. But here is a man just like you, a Green Beret, someone so badass to talk about meditation. So great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, let's get that one breath grounding practice. So
shit, I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah, you get so excited, man. You're forgetting how do we even run the show. You need it, apparently.
Apparently, John, thank you for noticing. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I'll jump in and lead it. So
you got it.
Go ahead, for those who are listening, and then for the three of us here, go ahead and get comfortable, whatever that looks like for you. And let's just begin by exhaling, emptying our lungs, bringing our navel to our spine, holding empty for a moment. Then a nice long, slow, deep breath in, filling all the way to the top, holding full, and releasing that. Releasing. All right. Let's bring some movement back in our bodies. I always like to roll my neck out for some reason. That's always what I go to. That's my go-to. So, hey, all right, Chris, we're going to jump right in here, man. So the intro, we talked about meditation. Clearly, this is a show about meditation, and about 75%, 70% of our show is men. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Will, you're right. It's not all about meditation.
No.
The show, but a lot of it is about meditation, mindfulness, and everything related to it. So for you, as we said, Green Beret background, meditation, similar to me, right? Former Navy SEAL, meditation now. When people hear those, they don't necessarily equate the two. When did you first discover meditation? What brought you to it? And then for yourself, what does your practice look like today?
I suppose it was maybe a year or two before I got out of the Army. I'd always heard the concept of meditation, and I always envisioned me sitting cross-legged on a cushion somewhere or something like that. And as I began to research it, what exactly is it? How do I do it? Is there a way to do it well? There's a bazillion apps out there that will kind of help you. Some have guided meditation, some are just instrumental, right? But the more research I did on it, all the studies that I saw, it's just super beneficial for you. So me being working where I was working in special forces, why wouldn't I try to give myself like another edge, right? And so I started to just kind of put it on my to-do list, like, all right, meditate today. And it started off with 15 minutes, and that was impossible. So I dialed that down to like 3, and then that was really hard. And then it was like, can I last 30 seconds
Wow.
breathing? And I could sometimes, right? But I found when I put a practice like this, particularly with meditation, if it's just on my to-do list, it's like the first thing that falls off when life happens, right? It just gets pushed to like bedtime, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just lay down and meditate, and then I just pass out, right? And so like I just wasn't taking it seriously, like I would like physical training or something like that. And so I don't think I reaped as many benefits as I could have had I actually taken the practice seriously. Fast forward to today, it isn't just on my to-do list. It is like in the middle of my day. It's part of my structure of how I do things now. And I'm glad to say that I've been able to work up from 3 minutes sitting in my car before I would walk into work to now. One of my favorite ways to meditate is I do a walking meditation in my backyard, and I'm sure my neighbors think I'm bananas because I grab my gallon water jug and throw off my shirt and just start doing laps around my backyard. And I would do it for an hour, and then I would go back inside. But when I first started doing that practice, something that I found interesting was I was trying to match my breathing to my pace, to like the steps I was taking. So breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. And after a little bit, I was just like out of breath. I was like, geez, Chris, like get it together. You're right. But I realized I was doing it backwards. Rather than matching my breath to my pace, I began to match my pace to my breathing. And naturally, it slowed my pace way down. And then it was just comfortable. And it was like, then I could actually focus on the breath and not me gasping for air. And for me, that was kind of like a metaphor for life too. There oftentimes, like me specifically, I try to force life into like my pace, right? And it often doesn't work very well when you do that.
Rarely.
Right, exactly. And so it was kind of a cool like aha moment where it's like, man, what if I adjust my pace to life, and slow down in general? And it's been significantly better since. But I had to actually change up my walking pattern in my backyard because I was so like in rhythm that I was stepping in the same footprints around my backyard. It was 72 steps from my back porch, do a lap back to the back porch. And it was like killing the grass. So I had to like shuffle step every now and then to like adjust. But it was kind of cool because there's something about kind of like finding like a rhythm that's just natural. And then stuff is allowed to kind of like melt away, and you could really just focus on the thing that you're trying to focus on, whether a mantra or in my case, just breath. And it was just a letting go process of like, I will say this, for years, particularly when I first started my practice, I was just beating myself up because my mind would just race and I would follow these rabbit holes, right? And then I'd be like, Chris, you can't focus for 30 seconds. You can't focus for 3 minutes, And I heard a video somewhere, somebody was like, dude, be gentle with yourself. Like, just relax.
Love that.
Love
that.
And
Yes.
that was the game changer. It's like, just be gentle. Like, talk to yourself as though you actually care about yourself. And that has been, like I said, a game changer ever since. Like when I do find my mind wandering, I'm just like, all right, buddy, bring it on back. Breath. It's like, okay, and that was huge. And for me, it was like almost like the beginning of a self-love practice too. It's not just meditation for the benefits that meditation gives you, but rather it's like learning how to treat myself well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, I can almost hear the meditation in your voice, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, like, no, I mean, it's
Super
like, I mean,
chill.
especially with, how you're matching, you're, like you said, you're matching your life, or kind of, putting yourself in motion in the pace that you want life to be. Right. Which is like, I think that's that's what you can really find in meditation when you really begin to take on the practice, because it is a process of kind of undoing and releasing and relaxing. And it's awesome to hear you talk about the kindness and the gentleness that starts to come through too. I mean, because I think when you're always trying to force life, and trying to get things done and like check things off the list, or whatever it is that your mind is trying to like force you into doing, meditation allows, as your experience, as you're talking about here, allows you to, just get into a natural flow. And, I use this Emerson quote often and he says, adapt to the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. And it's just like, I think you found that when you're talking about like finding those steps in the backyard. And it was a discovery process as well, which I think is really important for people to understand. It's not like you just show up and you're an awesome meditator. Like it is an ongoing process. So like at what point did you begin to realize, or how about this first, how long did it take you to realize that meditation and what you were practicing and how it is changing you physically, mentally, emotionally, that it actually began to translate, or you can call it like it became like performance tech, if you will?
To be honest, it was recently. It was probably this summer that it really started to click. Again, when I first started, it was just something to do on my to-do list, like check the box type thing. But when I started to like really take it seriously, like in the same way that I would take physical training seriously, that's when I started finding the real effects that it had, not only on my own life, but how I interacted with other people, right? And that's huge. I've got 2 daughters, and I was in the military for most of their life. So when I would come home, I was, knife handing, get your room clean,
I still do that.
Right. I mean, the knife hand is an effective tool.
Maybe I need the walking practice.
But I found that the meditation has helped me. It's helped me just be more patient, and maybe empathetic is a good word too. But I found that I'm learning that other people are the main characters in their story too, and recognizing that, and interacting with them in a way that is, I'm not trying to boss my kids around. I'm trying to help guide them on this journey, which is life, and do it in a way where they can enjoy it. Because life has a funny way of bumping into us, and it's not always pretty. But I do want to give them the skills to be able to navigate those challenges well. But that means I have to be able to communicate with them well. And my oldest is 19. She's actually enlisted in the Air Force. I'm super pumped about that. But she's at this age where kind of like everything I say is dumb. And so I have to...
my 8-year-old is already at that stage.
Yeah. And so...
Actually, my 4-year-old.
And so then how do I continue to father? How do I continue to guide if she doesn't want to listen to what I have to say? Well, some of that is probably just like how I live then. How can I live in a way where she can at least see it and soak it up through osmosis? And that includes like how I interact with her and how I talk with her and how I show up for her. And some of my favorite times were when she was learning how to drive. I get to sit passenger, and she hops in the driver's seat, and then we go get coffee together, and she's just telling me all the tea from high school, right? And I'm just listening. I have no idea who any of these women are that she's interacting with, but like learning how to show up in situations like that and just be, and not being on my phone checking like our emails and like what else do I have to do today. It's like learning how to just be in their presence. Is, for me, that was kind of the biggest thing. It's learning how to interact with people, particularly people that I really care about.
That's been a big one for me, man. Like, I learned to meditate back in 2015, and I I got to a point where I thought I had arrived, right? Like sometimes you go to the gym for, 6 months and you're like, all right, I feel pretty good. And then you drop off for a day and then you drop off for a week. And then suddenly you're like, oh crap. Well, the same thing had happened with meditation. And in 2017, we had our first child. So we've got two little girls with a little boy in the middle. My little girl, she was like just a couple of days old, weeks old. And she would get up in the middle of the night as young children do. And I would go through there like a little bit angry, which is ridiculous to think about. But I'm like, oh my gosh, she's interrupting my beauty sleep.
Right.
And then I would go through there and, warm up a bottle of milk, feed her. And my mind was on everything except this beautiful little baby in my hands and this moment right there. And I would be thinking about work the next day or something that I had screwed up in the past. And then I would kind of work myself into this tizzy, put my little girl back in the crib and then go back to bed. But now because I've worked myself into this tizzy, I couldn't get back to sleep. And I was like, man, I gotta learn how to get back to sleep and relax. I'm like, wait a minute. I have this tool that I've learned before. So I got back into meditation basically because my little girl. And after about 2 months or so, then when I would wake up in the middle of the night to feed her, I was actually looking forward to that time with her, like you just mentioned, being present with her and listening to all the little noises that she made and her reaching up and grabbing my hand and like that, enjoying that time and actually looking forward to it. And then I would put her back in the crib. And now because I haven't worked myself into this tizzy, then I would actually be able to sleep better. And I mean, that stillness there at night, that stillness in the meditation, those went together, but that also led to stillness at work. And so that kind of leads me into this next question, the Green Beret origin story, if you will. What did stillness on the cushion or however you meditate, what did stillness teach you that the battlefield could not?
As you know, like special operations is pretty high speed, like high stress. Even sitting on the computer filling out, cyber awareness training or whatever is,
Yeah.
it can be stressful, right? And so,
Yeah.
so for me, it's almost comparing the two lives, during military versus post-military, and how different I feel now. And then I'm almost regretful of all the missed opportunities. I could have been still. I could have been present and probably performed better at work, right? As you know, military is like, be here at this time. Don't be late. Hurry up. Now wait. Now hurry up again.
Hurry up,
Right,
wait.
exactly. And so it's from day one, you're kind of instilled with this sense of urgency always. And everything is a big deal. And everything is a catastrophe if it goes wrong, And there's a reason behind that, and I get it. But I wish I had learned how to meditate, learn how to still my mind sooner in my life. Because I'm convinced I would have performed way better throughout my career had I had that skill set,
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because we operate constantly with 85,000 things in our brain, and we're spread super thin always, and our mental bandwidth is so stretched that it's hard to get depth into things unless you force that focus, and learning how to focus well and seeing it as a tool, I think just would have benefited me in my military career. So I'm grateful that I've kind of discovered that skill set now, but I do wonder, like, man, I wonder if I could have done better in these various areas had I had that skill set more thoroughly developed.
Well, I would bet you would, because what you described, like hurry up and wait, everything's a big deal. There's a huge sense of urgency. Like, where does that put us? Right? It's like put us in a constant state of like adrenaline and cortisol in our bloodstream. So we're in our mind, we're not really in the moment. And, when we're locked in our head, worrying about whatever, stressed out or anxious, it's like, we're definitely not our best self. But imagine being grounded. You know what I mean? And like having, boom, all of yourself lit up and ready to go. because you can feel your feet on the ground instead of like worrying if you're going to get like yelled at or whatever it is, So yeah. I mean, that's a lot of things that I teach. God, John. Yeah.
I wish that I'd learned it earlier on too, because I mean, mindfulness meditation, it's, if you boil it down to one word, it's awareness or presence.
100%.
And when you're on the battlefield, we talk about situational awareness. And quite often, situational awareness almost gets forced on you when bullets start flying. I mean, ideally you're situationally aware before that, but you're also like, as you're walking, you're like, oh man, this one piece of gear is rubbing into my back or whatever, stupid little ankle biters. And then suddenly the shit hits the fan and like, it's like now you're super focused. But in practicing meditation or mindfulness, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I feel that in my back, but the mission at hand is to be paying attention 180 degrees in front of me, turn around 180 degrees behind me, look all around, take it in. And sometimes it's just hard to do. But if I'd learned that before, I think I would have been a lot more present on the battlefield, both as a warrior on the battlefield, but also as a leader, right? Knowing what my men were experiencing, how to guide them, that kind of thing. So, so let's talk about, that shift from Green Beret to what you're doing now. So in the Green Berets, for those listening who don't know, an 18 Delta is a medic. And Chris has that training as an 18 Delta medic. And now he's working kind of as a mindset architect. How did meditation kind of rewrite your career trajectory? Man, I need some more coffee. I'm mispronouncing everything this morning. But anyhow, how did it rewrite your career plans?
Yeah, great question. When I got out and decided to do coaching, which is essentially what I do, it was suggested by a good friend of mine who's a coach as well. And he's like, Chris, you should probably think about this. I'm like, dude, I don't think I could help anybody. But I gave it a shot. And then I was like, oh man, I really like this. This is fun. I like connecting with people and helping them through stuff. As my post-military career kind of progressed, I got out in 2022, so I've been coaching for a few years. When I started, I would often suggest like, hey, probably engage in some kind of meditation practice. It will only help you. But I was not always practicing what I preach. It was still the idea of meditating was still just a thing to do on my to-do list. When I started to get real serious about it, though, that's when things started to change within like my community and stuff. In that, they could like smell it on me, like, oh, something is different about Chris. What's going on? And I got to share like, well, actually, I've been meditating quite a bit more lately. I've been taking it seriously. It isn't just a thing I'm checking off at the end of the day. It is kind of integral to my day, so I can function and perform well and serve you all better. Which is kind of a fun shift for me to watch as I kind of detach and watch from the outside. It was kind of fun to watch that evolution because I proved my point. Like, meditation is a superpower if you develop it well. And now I get to spread the good news of meditation to my folks. And I'm sure for quite a few weeks they were getting tired of hearing about it, because I was every group call, I was like, all right, let's talk about meditation and how serious it is. I've had the privilege to pull med support for some organizations that utilize psychedelics for veterans to deal with PTSD and those kinds of things. Amidst that support, I've also had the opportunity to engage in some of those psychedelics. And there was one particular journey that I was on that I remember I just kind of had this, I don't know, phrase in my head. I want peace. I want to strive for peace. Give me peace. I want peace. I want to strive for peace. And whatever voice, maybe it was the universe, maybe it was just my subconscious, like knocked me over the head, was like, stop striving, just be peace. And that's when this like idea of like really engaging in a meditative practice kind of came to fruition. Because it was like, if you boil life down to mind, body, spirit, what things can you do throughout the day to engage in those kind of activities in a healthy way? And I was like, meditation, physical fitness, and being creative in some capacity. That's kind of how my brain wrapped around that. And when I took that seriously, when I took that phrase, stop striving for peace, just be peace, it not only changed my behavior on a daily basis. My second book, we'll be talking a great deal about that concept, where peace is not on some distant mountaintop that we have to go searching for it. It is buried beneath all the shit that we put on top of it. And so the journey towards peace is rather an uncovering or remembering of like who we ought to be and who we should have been from the beginning.
Who we are from the beginning, at the very beginning. Yeah. Who we are. But yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's this concept that I'm continuing to dig into and dive into and further uncover. That's where I want to be. That's what I want to protect. And meditation for me has been a great tool to excavate all the junk in order to rest on that foundation of peace. Very recently, I realized that it's more than a foundation. It's a very deep reservoir that you can rest in. And what I mean by that is like the peace has infinite depth. And if you can operate in a way where you are resting in that reservoir always, regardless of what life throws at you, you are able to withstand, even if it's miserable, even if it's not happy. If you can rest in that peace, then that's like, it's going to be okay, you know?
Yeah, man. We assign different levels of significance or attitude towards these different feelings. You know, if it's pain, then we see it as bad. If it's sadness, we see it as bad. We label it, right? And I think that's one of the big things that you just hit on is meditation definitely helps you to remove the labels and just sit in whatever it is that you're in. And for those, if you saw me jump off the camera for a second there, I've got this picture here of the Buddha, and the Buddha is sitting very peacefully, but inside there's rage and chaos, and you know the meditation helps to calm that rage and chaos or whatever it is, and you help to find that peace. And I love the way that you described it there as a reservoir of peace that's you you can continually kind of dip into, and I mean, to take the metaphor a little bit further, drink from continually. So I love that. And then the piece that you touched on there, you took it off of your to-do list and you became much more serious about it. There's a lot of people that listen to the show. I mean, heck, I'm on the show and I talk about it, and there's times when I'm like, man, I don't have time for this meditation. That's a lie that we're all telling ourselves. That no time lie. So your experience is that, hey, you plugged it in, it becomes a part of your day, it's integral to your day. The 5-minute rule for people who claim they're too busy. What does day one actually look like for people?
It's going to be uncomfortable that first time you sit down and choose to try to still your mind. And we talked about it a little bit ago, but be gentle when the mind races, because it will. It's just how our brain works. So just be gentle. But I would even go so far to say, don't try to still your mind. Just try to sit and observe. And that's something I had to learn too. That it's not like me trying to flex a muscle to clear the junk. It's rather no, I get to sit back and just watch, and observe, and with no judgment. All right, that's a weird thought, or whatever. Just let it go. Let it kind of drift by. Or man, that's a great deal of pain. Yeah, that's pain. That's a great deal of joy. Yeah, that's joy. Training myself to detach just a little and just observe was huge, and I think that will help probably new practitioners. It'll help them in that they won't be judging themselves, I think, as harshly. Like, man, why can't I just still my mind? Stop trying to. Just sit and watch for a little bit. if you have something to focus on, maybe it's breath, maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's a candle, I don't know. Focus on that, and when the mind wanders, observe it, acknowledge it, bring it back gently. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of touching on some of the resistance that we experience. And I think that's a big part of this practice that people don't realize is, the mind it wants to get in the way because it doesn't have any place. I mean, the mind is like, it's weird. It's like, it's like its own entity, that happens to be inside of us, uh, and it doesn't like being ignored. And we meditate and we get present and we detach, like you said, and we just begin to let go. Like the mind's gonna have a lot to say because it no longer is in control. And and that's where really, like, I remember you said, like, I'm gonna meditate for 5 minutes, and it was like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, you're fine, like, you know what, why could you do 30 seconds? I'm gonna be able to accomplish something here. Because that resistance can be just so incredibly strong. And it is, like, still for me. I mean, like, I've been meditating since 2007, and it just, I mean, I still feel the mind getting in the way, but now I've created a different relationship to the mind, and I think that's something to bring into the conversation here. And as a means of, like, I like to hear the way that you kind of coach people around, kind of dealing with themselves, dealing with this resistance, the kind of ego versus awareness, because again, it's like that the ego is just gonna, it only knows the past and future, and it's not taking you to one of those places, or imagination to maybe a third. Then it's gonna do everything it fucking can. It's so incredibly clever, and it's just to distract you and regain control. So, what are some of the ways that you begin to coach your meditation students around this resistance?
A couple of books that really helped me that I recommend often are Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Learning and actually realizing and believing that the voice in my head isn't actually me was a huge game changer for me.
Yeah.
Singer often describes it as like the chatty roommate uh, that just wants to be heard all the time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so realizing that voice is just the chatty roommate, and I am allowed to step back, and I don't have to engage. I can just watch it and let it do its thing. That was huge for me. And so that folks that are kind of like beginning, they ask me, they're like, well, how do I start? And that's like one of the first things I bring up. Like, all right, you're gonna be hearing a lot of voice in your head. Just breathe. That's not necessarily you. You can just observe. You don't have to engage.
Yeah. That's a. I also like to. I had an opportunity to teach meditation to a group of, like, high performers here in New York. It's a major company, and I like to talk about, like, the non-doing aspect of meditation. And just, like, get into, instead of trying to push or fight, even all those activities like push, fight, or battle, like your mind. It's just like you're still doing things, but if you just begin to stop, let go, find your breath, and like and or the body or whatever particular focus in it is on the meditation, you can really you begin to let go and get into a space of, like, non-doing. And I think people really get confused about meditation, and one of the big misconceptions is like, oh, well, I need to stop thinking. I'm like, no, that fucking is not like what meditation is about. Like, your thinking might decrease over time as you naturally become more calm from sitting and practicing day after day, or through an extended period of time within your meditation. But when you kind of yeah, I just saw a bunch of people wake up when I was teaching about this non-doing aspect, because they're like, wow, I never heard of it that way. I was always trying to battle my mind. I'm like, well, I mean, that's you in the doing space, and like, and you're not going to out clever your mind. There's just no way that's going to, because it's already has you by you battling it. It's already winning, because you got to just let go and get into the non-doing space. Um, uh, yeah, John, what's anything over there that you like to bring into this?
Yes. So just talking about, again, the 5-minute rule, right? We were just talking about how you make it integral in your life, but inevitably something is going to pop up, right? Something that Will and I always talk about in our courses, in our retreats, is being consistent. again, same thing with the gym, right? Staying consistent. If you go to the gym for 20 minutes every single day for 3 months versus, 2 hours once a week, the 20 minutes every single day is going to make the bigger difference. But the things that kill that consistency, you know, Will and I both travel a lot. You and I, Chris, we both got kids. You got books that you're writing, and you probably have book launches. You have podcasters who keep reaching out to you to come on their show. What breaks these routines? And then, or I guess, yeah, those are some of the things that break routines. But then how do you bulletproof your practice from these routine breakers?
I heard something a while back. I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to do my best to paraphrase. It was something along the lines of a meditative state isn't the thing. It is the equivalent of the fragrance of the flower that you're looking at, right? So what does that mean? That means that you have an opportunity to eventually develop like a constant meditative state. It isn't something necessarily that you would have to turn off or could turn off, but that requires the practice. That requires engaging in consistent activity that helps foster that fragrance, right? So, to your question, it's easy when everything is the same every single day, and you can just block off this time, right? I think if you're traveling a lot, or if you're always busy, it's all right. Find the 15 seconds that you're able to be still and focus on breath and let go. Maybe that's standing in line at the grocery store, or sitting in the back of an Uber, or maybe that's when you're rocking your child to sleep, right? Like, you can find these moments, and when you begin to look at it as a lifestyle as opposed to a thing to do, I think that's, for me, that's where it started to switch, where it's like, no, I could just be meditating always. And it will look different regardless, or it will look different depending on what I'm doing. Like, I can't shut my eyes while I'm driving down the road for very long. But I can still practice focusing on breath. I can still practice this awareness, observing the thoughts that are coming by, but not engaging with them. For me, the real switch, the when I really started to take this seriously, it has become more of a lifestyle and a mindset versus one specific block of time. Now, in order to kind of foster that lifestyle, I had to carve out time to practice, because it is a practice. And it will be tricky if you've got kind of a disruptive schedule. Maybe you do travel a lot and stuff. And so it's, maybe the trigger isn't necessarily a particular time on your schedule, but maybe a particular event. Maybe it's like every time when I brush my teeth, I will be meditating, or when I'm in the shower. Most people shower most days, so that's a great opportunity. That is already carved out into your schedule, that you're able to kind of engage in this kind of practice. So that would be kind of my recommendation. I would argue best practice is carving out a specific time, and that becomes sacred, and nothing touches it. If that is impossible, you can kind of use some of these different techniques, though.
Yeah, it's like the difference between meditation and mindfulness, right? There, you may not be able to get the meditation in every day, but plugging some mindfulness into your day, that could be eating a mindful meal, having a mindful conversation, having a mindful walk, that kind of thing. Will and I we're data nerds, right? So I used to wear a Whoop. I'm looking at getting another type of ring. It's not the Aura ring. So we track different metrics. And what we have seen through these metrics, and surely it's anecdotal when we look at just ours, but we've seen it across the board. These different metrics are affected. So heart rate variability, sleep, reaction time, these kinds of things. Do you track anything so that you can see that the progress is not just these kind of ethereal vibes?
Yeah, I use the Aura ring to primarily to track my sleep, but it does offer some insights into some other metrics as well. Everything's kind of connected, and so if you if your sleep sucks, that in itself will be a distractor, and will disrupt your capability to even calm yourself. One would think that like, oh, if you're tired, you should be able to calm down quicker. I have not found that to be the case.
No,
No way.
not at
Right.
all.
And less control.
Exactly.
My kids will tell you it's not the case too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so sleep for me is a big one, and my sleep has not always been great, and I'm working on it. But and then there's also like, all right, what do I consume too? Not just food wise, but what kind of information am I bringing in? What kind of things am I scrolling through? That becomes another. It becomes another variable that will affect how well I'm able to do the practice, and then which will then affect my capability to be kind of in that meditative state. So I don't know if you guys have seen advertised the brick. It's this cool thing where it's this little.
Oh yeah.
It's just,
I got it right here.
yeah,
Man.
dude, I love it. Game changer. So
Oh, it's great, man.
it shuts down all my social media at 6 a.m. And if I have to get on, if I'm posting for work or whatever, I have to walk down out of my office, down into the garage, tap the little thingy in order to get back onto social media, which is a pain in the tail and awesome because then I don't do it as often. Yeah, you've got it. So if I understand that,
awesome.
if I understand that there's certain things that will affect my capability to practice well, what can I do to ensure that those things won't negatively influence that? Sleep, as I mentioned, is a big one. Like, how do I get really good sleep? I've got a slumber cave. I've set my bedroom up in such a way where it's like 68 degrees at night, pitch black. I've got double blackout curtains. I've put tape over all the little LED things here at my desk. And it's just like, it's pitch black. It's a cave. I love it. But that will positively affect how I sleep, which will then positively affect how I'm able to practice, which will then positively affect my meditative state throughout the rest of the day, right? So stuff like that is huge. I'm a data nerd too. I love tracking metrics on myself. I think alcohols is one of those. I'm not sure how your community was, but GBs are some drinkers. and
Oh man, yeah, special operations as a whole,
and
for sure.
And understanding that alcohol is often used as self-medication, but it's like the worst thing for you. It's essentially poison. I'm not like a teetotaler. Like, I still drink on occasion, so don't hear what I'm not saying. But if you understand that it's a poison, it will then affect your sleep quality, which will then trickle affect the rest of your day. Like, how much should you be drinking, right? That's kind of my thought on it. But there are quite a bit of variables that you do have control over that will affect, but we don't always know like second, third order effects of what these variables will do to us.
That's a great way of putting it, man. And my wife has come up with a new mantra on drinking. Is she drinking just to drink, or is she drinking to enhance the experience? And a lot of the time we're drinking to numb, or to just drink because we're bored, or because it's the expectation. Hey, we're watching the game, so let's drink a 6-pack. But is that truly enhancing the experience? More often than not, it's not.
I think that meditation is also going to really help you to make different choices around that, because like what meditation is going to also help you to do is not just be, have a greater situational awareness, but it's going to help you to be more like physically aware, more emotionally aware. And you definitely, I know the difference between when I get a good night's sleep or, I'm doing a sober October right now. I haven't been a big drinker in like probably 2 years, but I definitely like to smoke some cannabis. But alcohol just was having such an incredibly negative impact on me all the fucking time. Like I'd get bad headaches. I would be probably a little bit more ornery the next day and like easily agitated. And I could just see it in my performance. I could see it in my relationships. I could see it in my relationship to myself. And, meditation, as it is as a tool that we're talking about here to really stay calm, to stay focused, to be more intentional with your time and your energy. But it really helps you to become more aware of like the choice that you're making throughout the day, because I just want to show up more with a sense of sharpness, of a sense of ease in my body, a sense of peace that you're talking about. But also like, I really want to keep that as much of my energy as I possibly can, mentally, physically, and emotionally, to move me forward into the direction I want to go in. And like, I really believe that. I mean, I just know it is like fucking, it's a poison to our body. I mean, it affects all our organs, it affects our brain, in all these kind of negative ways. I mean, it's fun in the moment sometimes. But alcohol, it's just not your friend. And, instead of numbing, it might be better it's escaping, right? It might be better, like, and what are you escaping from? And if you start to meditate, you're going to start to turn that mirror onto yourself and really begin to look at yourself in a new way. And it's uncomfortable as fuck. It's so uncomfortable sometimes to really begin to look at yourself in a meaningful and honest way. But like, if you start to do that, anyone that's listening, and all of us, all three of us here have experienced, you'll start making different choices and start doing things in a way that you really aligns with the person that you want to be. And also, as you continually meditate and get down into this well that you're talking about, this reservoir of peace, you're going to start finding more of your heart. You're going to find more of your creativity. You're going to find more of more of the things that and how you want to show up in the world. And it's just so, like, again and again, it just shows up in so many incredible ways, and really helps us especially as men. I mean, and everybody, but like, it really just becomes a superpower, like we kind of said in the beginning. I mean, for sure. Well, let's give our audience some ways that they can, you have, the 21-minute protocol, your daily go-to stack. Like, what exactly should a beginner, start doing tomorrow in order to kind of get on this ride and begin to experience their journey of meditation?
Yeah, good question. When people ask me like, well, how do I start? I kind of liken it to like working out in the gym. You don't want to break yourself off in 2 weeks and then never go into the gym again, right? And so trying to sit down and meditate for an hour, if you've never done it before, is going to be frustrating.
Made that
That's
mistake.
what John did.
Right.
I did that literally.
Yeah.
Literally, like day one, man, dude. I got
I'm all
told, hey,
in. I'm a
maybe
fucking
you should
seal.
meditate, and I was like, fucking hey, baby, I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna send it.
Send it. Send the meditation.
Yeah.
Send the meditation.
And particularly, I would argue, particularly folks that are relatively high achievers, they're used to just taking on a bunch, and they're like, "Well, I can handle this.
Yeah,
Let's go."
Totally.
And then,
exactly.
and then what happens is they don't get the results that they want immediately, and they're like, "Well, it's obviously not working," or "I'm not able to do this well, so I'll try something different." Right? It's like, no. When somebody comes to me and they've never worked out, or they've been a couch potato for quite some time, I don't tell them to go to the gym. I tell them, hey, take a walk around your block. And when that starts to feel real good, do 2 laps, easing into it, because in my opinion, I'm not trying to get abs in 90 days. I'm trying to be fit. I'm trying to be fit until I die. Same with meditation, right? I'm not trying to become enlightened in the next week. It's like, let's learn what this is like. Let's figure out the nuances of my own mind, and then let's continue to push the envelope. And for me, it is kind of like, just start off small. Most people could handle, a 45-second, just focus on your breath. And the pushback is often like, well, that's not enough. Like, well, you got to start somewhere. And if you're going to do it for the rest of your life, that's a great place to start. Eventually maybe you do get to an hour, 2 hours, or whatever. But start with what you can handle, something that's bite size, that is manageable, that you can pat yourself on the back. Like, I did it. I meditated all week this week. They were 45-second blocks, but I was consistent. I think that's a great place to start, because it's like small micro wins that we can begin to stack. Because one won't see the benefits of meditation for a while. It's just like going to the gym. Like, you can go to the gym for a month and not really see results yet, but you keep going because you trust if you continue that practice, you'll get fit, you'll lose the weight, you'll get jacked, whatever. Same with meditation. It's like, you're just going to have to trust this is kind of a process that takes a while. And it might be a while before you start seeing like real benefits and real results. And I've found that I don't really even realize that I'm seeing the results until I stop my practice, right? And then it's like, then the clutter starts coming back in and I'm short with people and like, oh, I know what's going on here. I haven't prioritized this thing that really helps me, right? So for me, again, when people first come to me and they're like, how do I start? Dude, start off small, kind of ease into the water essentially, because you don't want to get people discouraged after 3 days, because then they quit.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a great point about instead of just sitting in a kind of a traditional, be with your mind kind of meditation is like that walking meditation, or just go for a walk without your technology. Go for a walk without technology and try to see as many different colors in your environment as you possibly can. Something that simple, because like just letting go of your technology is going to be like, you're going to start to see, that dopamine hit, like, oh my God, like what, who am I without this technology? And that's a great place to start. That's a really good place to start. And and if you just keep repeating, again, John said earlier, consistency is key to any habit change. And if you just consistently plug in your day, make the fucking time. And it's like, I don't have the time. Well, how much time are you wasting on whatever social media app or an email or whatever else you're wasting? It's like, I guarantee you have the time. And if you start to take back 5 minutes of that time, or even just 45 seconds of that time, it's really going to start. Because it's all of a sudden, it's like, wait, I'm worth it. I matter in this situation. I don't need to be, like it. Why am I giving myself to everybody and everything all the time? Instead of like, how about starting with me? Like that old saying, you put yourself, you got to put your mask on yourself first before you can go somewhere else to help somebody else. And this is what this practice is going to also help you to do. Realize like, oh fuck, like, I really have the opportunity to make a change. And when you start to experience that change and start to just feel like eventually I guarantee if anybody listening right now, stop the podcast after we end, or even stop right now and just, put your phone away and just go for a walk outside and just try to see again as many colors as you can, or just like take in the world around you. You're going to feel a little bit different because it's a different experience when you're not attached to things that really don't matter, in a lot of ways.
And then when you come back after pausing and doing that walk, listen to the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Please. Yeah. And like, subscribe and share and send someone a text message and leave us a review. Okay. So thank you. We're not making a demand.
I want to take that gym analogy one step further, right? You're not, if you're fat, out of shape, unhealthy, your cardiovascular system's poor, it's not going to take 2 weeks to suddenly become in shape. Well, it took you a while to get to the place where you're out of shape physically. So, for me, I retired from the SEAL teams in 2020. I was in good shape. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in good shape for the rest of my life. Maybe I'll take a couple of weeks off. And then suddenly I'm, 40 pounds heavier. I'm like, oh, wow, this snuck up on me. But it really didn't sneak up on me. It took 5 years. And then I go to the gym and I'm like, okay, I'll work out for 3 weeks and I expect to be back to where I was in 2020. Well, it doesn't work like that. Well, the same thing with your brain, right? Your brain didn't get to this total chaos or this stressed out state in 3 weeks. It has taken your entire life to get where you are. And now to change that, you're literally going to have to rewire your brain, change the construct of your brain. That's what's going to happen in meditation, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, just like getting to that state took time. So I just wanted to kind of add in to that same analogy.
What are you feeling there, Chris? Like what's right now, like a kind of gap in this conversation you feel needs to be plugged?
There are a couple of, I guess, pushbacks I hear in regards to meditation. One we've kind of touched on, which is I can't quiet my mind enough to meditate, so I won't do it. And I always say in response, that's like saying I'm too dirty to take a shower. And so they usually
That's great.
They usually laugh at me.
It's perfect.
Because
I'm going to clog the drain with all the dirt coming off my body. I'm sorry.
But no, I think
ridiculous.
that's an
Anyway,
appropriate
sorry,
analogy. Yeah, we know that you can't quiet your mind. That's kind of like the whole point. so start learning to
That's not
take the
bad.
shower well, right? The other one is folks from my other community where I used to work. They're like, that's so dumb. It's such a waste of time. Why would I sit there for 15 minutes or 30 minutes? It's dumb. This is how I usually push back to that, which is uh, if an alien were to come down and stand in the gym that you're working out in, they would observe you doing deadlifts, and then they would question, like, excuse me, you just picked that really heavy thing up and put it right back down where it started, and then you did it several times. Why did you do it? You didn't accomplish anything. The response would be like, well, actually, the lifting process was what I wanted to do. That was the point. And that's how I kind of relate meditation to it. It's like the point is learning to be still, learning to observe the thoughts, and eventually they begin to quiet. That is the point. It's that's where the work is. And again, I truly believe meditation becomes a borderline superpower when developed well. But those are kind of two of the pushbacks I often hear, and those are my responses to them.
Those are good ones. I've got like, I don't have it right in front of me, but I have like the 16 myths of meditation. That you have to be sitting on a cushion, that you have to be sitting in the lotus position, that you have to quiet your mind, that you like all sorts of things there. But the last thing I wanted to kind of go to is, in the SEAL teams, in the ODAs, you have a group that holds you accountable. And, what are your thoughts on kind of solo working at this or doing it in a squad, a team, a platoon, like a community to coach you through maybe or hold you accountable? How do you think, what do you think about that?
I'm a huge believer in tribe and community. I think just more gets accomplished when you have some kind of standard that you're being held to, right? The tricky part, I would argue, is a lot of folks, particularly where we used to work, they look at things like meditation or yoga and they're like, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. It's frou-frou, whatever. And so
Yeah,
it's
for sissies.
right. If it's being imposed upon like a team, there will be guys that are into it and they're like, yeah, I'll do this. And there'll be guys that are like, this is stupid. And they'll just kind of go through the motions, right? And you're not going to get the same kind of level of growth, I think, if you have like kind of that mixed bunch where some are just kind of checking a box, right? If though you can surround yourself with the kind of people that are like, yeah, no, I understand this. This is what I need in my life. Let's do this together. That accountability of like, hey, did you do your meditation? Or hey, are you coming over so we can meditate today? Like that's huge. Finding those people may be tricky, but I would argue with the power of the internet, you can find somebody that's like-minded and you'd be able to achieve.
Right on. And now it's time for a shameless plug of our upcoming new meditation community that we're going to be building. So it's coming up in January or February of next year. We're going to have something on the Circle app, whole meditation course, and we're going to have a community built around
yeah,
that.
it's bigger than
for that very
meditation
reason.
too. Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah,
awareness
it's
that we're
way
going to
bigger.
gain. Yeah, so meditation's just a piece of it. But like, I mean, I think, I feel, I know we're stronger together, 100%. And when you are sitting and you're struggling and you're in a group and however big the group is, and maybe you kind of like pop out of your meditation, you look around and the other people around you are still meditating. It's like, okay, I come back and I get to my anchor and I begin to continually meditate. And there's also like a collective consciousness, a collective unconsciousness that's happening. There's a heart kind of thread that begins to weave in everybody, and it's just like we are more powerful together. I mean, it's like, everything you guys do, you're not a solo Green Beret. You're not a solo SEAL. You have a team. You know what I mean? And even in meditation, you can kind of look to your friend or look to your community, get answers from them. And if you're really working with a really solid group of people, they're going to help you and they're going to support you because they're having the same struggles as well. And 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 you're also in that common pursuit as well. It's almost like masterminding in some ways to be able to do this. So it's I can't. It's stronger together for sure. And if you're really struggling out there or struggling to get started, then lock into a group. And again, you can take the course. We're going to come out, and Chris, you have a bunch of things that as well that you're working on. So why don't you? We're going to close, but please tell us what's going on out there, how people can find you, and all the wonderful books that you've written as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, my name's Chris Lee. I'm on Instagram and TikTok, coach_Chris.Lee. I very recently signed some paperwork. I'll be working with Nick Lavery as well. I'll be president of Machine Mentality. I'm super stoked about that. Yeah. So thrilled for that opportunity. That's going to be super exciting. And we're going to be talking a lot about, meditation and learning to still the mind and uncover that peace that's within us. First book, Beyond the Battlefield. I appreciate the plug. That's essentially my whole coaching philosophy in 140 pages. There are no war stories in it. It's just my thoughts on how to set up a life that's relatively successful. Next book that I'm working on will be Beyond the Serpent, and that's all about kind of what we've been talking about today, which is uncovering peace and finding it within us. It's again not something on a distant mountaintop somewhere. So that's what I'm working on currently.
When's that coming out?
Good question.
What do you think?
My hope is initial manuscript done by the end of this year, and then hopefully first quarter next year.
Right on, man. Well, as I said before we hit record, we always like to wrap it up with a closing practice if the guest is a practitioner of any sort. So I'd love to turn it over to you to guide that if you're comfortable doing so.
This will be my first time. How much time do I got?
All right. As much time as you want. Well, like 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
If that. No, take as much time as you want between 0 and 5 minutes.
Perfect.
But take as much time as you want.
Perfect. All right, everybody that's listening, get comfortable, sit up tall, straight spine. Take a big deep breath all the way down to the bottom of your belly. Hold it there. Then just release. Do 2 more of those. Big deep inhale. And release. Do 1 more. Inhale all the way down. And release. Just let your breathing return to normal. Into the nose, out through the mouth. Begin at the top of the head. Just bring awareness there. Let your awareness behave like liquid light. Let it flow over your head, down your face. And everywhere the light touches, just allow that to relax those muscles. Relax your face. Relax your jaw. Let your tongue rest at the bottom of your mouth. As the light continues to flow down your neck, into your shoulders, relax your shoulders. Let the tension just melt away. As the light moves further down, bring awareness to your arms. Any tension that's there, just let it go. All all the way down to your fingertips. Just relax your hands. As the light continues to flow down your chest, down your back, just feel the tension evaporate. Let the warm, liquid light just flow. Every muscle it touches just releases tension. Down to your hips, your thighs. Allow your muscles to relax. The light moves down to your calves. Let them release. Let that tension go. As the light reaches to your feet, notice your feet on the ground. Now you're covered in light. Let all the tension go. You can focus on your breath. Just a normal pace. Don't try to force it. Just let it be. And as thoughts begin to wander into your mind, don't fight them. Just observe. And let them float away like leaves on a stream. The next thought comes by, just observe it. And anything else you observe, maybe it's a hunger pain, dry mouth, itchy back, just observe it. Let it go. Any emotions that are coming up, just sit and look. Don't have to fight it. You don't have to push it away. Just observe. The emotions that you're feeling aren't right or wrong. They're just there. So don't fight them. Push, cling. Just observe. As you continue to breathe normally, focus on that breath. Focus on that inhale. Maybe you feel it in your nose. Maybe you feel it mostly in your chest. Observe that sensation. And then let that breath go. And observe the next one. As we're wrapping up, start to bring more awareness to your body, beginning with your fingers and your toes. You can begin to wiggle them. And then to your arms and your legs and your neck. Maybe roll that out. Starting to come back. When you're ready, if your eyes were closed, you're free to open them. But only when you're ready.
Nice work,
Thank
brother.
you.
Where are we?
Nice work.
What's going on?
You got a great voice for this,
I
man.
appreciate it.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. Well, Chris, this has been phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, for sharing, how people can integrate this into their lives. You don't have to start with an hour long like I tried and definitely messed that up. So start small, stay consistent. And yeah, it's going to make a giant change in your life. Will, I'll turn it over to you to wrap it up, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again, Chris. And Yeah, meditation is not what you think. And hopefully by listening to this podcast, you'll have a little bit more knowledge to realize that, you can meditate and maybe invite other people to meditate, because this is one practice that can really change your life and will change the world. But we have to show up and we have to put in the work and we have to practice. So thank you again, Chris. For everyone out there listening, we appreciate you tuning in, and leave a comment below. Let us know about your experiences and your struggles with meditation, and see how we can help you. So thank everybody. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll see you.
Awesome, everybody.
All right, guys.
Have a great
Until
day.
next time, everyone. Take care. Peace.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you walk away with some new tools and insights to guide you on your life journey. New episodes are being published every week, so please join us again for some meaningful discussion. For more information, please check out mentalkingmindfulness.com.
Meditation is a superpower if you